afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Footprints. I'm your host, Mr. Davis. I'm an educator at BHS, that's Beverly High School, for those who don't know. And joining me today is the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only, Mr. Craig Bren, a wellness teacher at Beverly High School. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Bren to the show.
Thank you for having me. That's mighty kind. I don't know if I'd go that far, but thank you. I appreciate it.
You're quite welcome. I'm glad you came. So, excuse me, I'm going to ask right away, ladies and gentlemen, the question that I generally ask all my guests. Tell us something about yourself, Mr. Bren, that nobody knows.
So that's a loaded question because I'm an open book, and I'm guessing most of my students know almost everything there is to know about me. But maybe I'll throw out there that I served 13 years in the United States Coast Guard.
Oh, how about that? That's interesting. I didn't know that. Tell us a little bit about that. How did that come about?
Service is always something that I believed in. Actually, I mean, maybe it sounds silly, but there's a poem from a Shawnee chief, Tecumseh, who says you should make your life long and its purpose in the service of its people. These are words that I found at one point in my life, and it's something that I firmly believe in. I feel like I'm doing that as a teacher. I feel like I'm doing that as a coach, and I felt like that service really suited me well. It was something that I wanted to go after, and I wound up doing 10 years on active duty, and then life changed. And I decided I was going to become an educator, and I left. I did 3 years in the reserves while I got my degree, and now here I am at Beverly High School teaching PE.
I love it. It's awesome. So talk a little bit about that, that transition from being in the military to now you're actually, a wellness teacher is what they say you are now, right?
Yeah.
So wellness. So one of the questions I want to ask you is what really inspired you to really become a wellness teacher? What was the thing that got you going?
For me, it's coaching. I always wanted to coach. And, at times during my Coast Guard career, I would find little times to slide in some coaching here and there. And it was really that idea was so rewarding to me. Spending that time and watching, the athletes that I was coaching, even at such a young age. Watching them grasp a concept and understand something and being the person to instill that in them is extremely rewarding. So I found, now it even applies. Right now I'm a teacher. I'm doing it all the time. I still do my coaching, and I still get to coach. And that's probably the biggest plus side to being a teacher for me, because of one of my goals is, I'm basically coaching all day long. Right. And then after school, I'll have to coach some more. I'm living the dream right now, right? I'm living the dream.
So that's awesome. So just so we understand what Mr. Brent's talking about here, to be a wellness teacher, you got to earn a bachelor's degree. There's a whole lot of stuff involved. You got to complete this teacher preparation course, right? You gain the teaching experience through student teaching. You earn this state teaching certificate. So if you're into that, you got to do that, right? And then you apply for wellness teaching positions here and there. And luckily we landed Mr. Bren here at BHS. I'm really happy that we did that. Mr. Bren, do you have any siblings, by the way?
I do.
You do?
I have, I guess, a somewhat large family.
Okay.
We're definitely, there's a dynamic there. It's interesting. I have 2 older brothers.
Okay.
I have 2 younger brothers, and I have a younger sister. However, I'm also an only child.
Oh.
They're all half brothers and sisters.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So there's a very interesting dynamic.
That is a dynamic that's interesting. It is. That's pretty funny. So where do you fall in that whole dynamic? Where are you at? Are you in the middle? Are you the older?
I'm directly, I put myself directly in the middle. 2 older brothers, 2 younger brothers, and a younger sister.
How about that? That's awesome.
Middle child syndrome.
So that must have been that. That's me. Well, I don't know. I mean, I have an older brother, then it's me. Then I have a younger sister and a younger brother, so I'm not really sure if I'm the middle child. Well, we kind of are.
Yeah, you're close.
Sort of close. Tell me, are you married, sir? You said you were. Okay. How many kids?
We have 3.
Okay, 3.
I like to jokingly call it a his, hers, and ours.
Okay, I love it.
So I have a 17-year-old son.
All right.
A 17-year-old stepdaughter.
All right.
And we have a 9-year-old son.
Wow. Okay. Yep. And so coaching is big in your life.
Yes.
And you have coached them.
I have.
Tell me about that experience, because I've done the same thing.
It is the most rewarding and challenging situation I think you could put yourself in, right? Because you need to be extremely fair.
Yes.
And sometimes you find yourself almost wanting to be even a little bit harder on your own child.
Exactly.
Right? And you've got to make sure that you're coaching all of the players exactly the same. It's actually kind of a funny story. So for those that may not know, I do some coaching in Beverly as well, but I am one of the football coaches at Gloucester High School.
Excellent.
And one of the other coaches actually, he kind of giggled at this because one day as we were getting out of the car, I had this very hard and fast rule, right? When we are at practice, I am coach, right? And outside of practice, I am dad.
That's right.
Right? So I am never dad at practice. I am coach at practice.
That's right.
And one of the coaches actually got a good laugh out of this. We pulled into practice one day and we stopped, and my oldest son got out of the car to head into the high school, and he was like, "Oh, hey, Dad." And I go, "No." I go, "What'd you say?" And he goes, "Sorry, hey, Coach." I'm like, "That's right, because we're out of the car now, so we're at practice."
That's it. You got to switch those hats,
When we were still in the car, you could have called me Dad, but we stepped out of the car, so now I'm Coach.
I love it. I love it. Can you describe a time where you had a class that was a little bit challenging, and how did you deal with it as a wellness teacher?
There's no one answer to that, right?
It's kind of tough.
It is, because it's funny. And you know what? I'll go back to coaching, and I'll say that, like, people will tell you, like, "Oh, you know what? You don't treat all the athletes the same." And to that, I say, you're darn right.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? If you're treating every athlete the same, then you're doing a really poor job.
Exactly.
And if I'm treating all of my students the same, right, and all of my classes the same with the same exact structure, I mean, I should say the structure remains the same. But like, if I'm treating them all exactly the same, I'm doing a poor job as a teacher.
Right.
Because every one of those students needs something else.
100%.
Right? Every one of them, some of them need a gentler touch. Some of them need me to be a little bit tougher. And I think like that answer, and it's funny, that's always one of the questions, right? When you're interviewing for a job.
Right.
Like, well, how are you going to handle a tougher class?
Yeah, that's it.
I can't tell you that.
It's really hard.
Because in the moment, I don't know. There might be a student who's, having a tough day or acting out or not being, being appropriate at the time.
Right.
And what am I going to tell you? That I'm going to, threaten them with this, or
Yeah,
I'm going to talk to them about this? Like, no, because each one of those is different.
It's very
and
unique.
You need to know how to handle all of those. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think I do a perfect job, and I think I do all right. And how do you differentiate between each one of them? You got to get to know your students. You got to get to know your athletes, and then you'll know how to respond.
No question. I agree 100% with what you said, because I think it's hard enough as educators to really kind of like get the information into the kids and have them absorb it, and then have them sort of like gravitate to it and then like it.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're dealing with difficult students, it's really like you're walking on eggshells a little bit, but you gotta find that fine line. And as educators, as you know, it's really difficult. So that's why I asked that question, because I wanted to see what you would do.
It's a good one.
Very nice.
It's a good question.
Tell me, what do you think some of the most common wellness concerns are among high school students today? What do you think?
So here's the way I like to put this, right? If I'm not very good at math, okay, and I'm sitting at my desk and I'm doing my math work, not everybody in the world can see that I'm not very good at math.
Right.
Okay. And this is where I think one of the biggest struggles comes with wellness and physical education is you're on display for the world to see.
No question.
Right? If you're, playing pickleball or basketball, or, you're working out in the gym or doing a cardio unit, everybody is seeing what you're doing. And that can create, a very insecure space for some students.
No question.
And even some of the athletes can struggle with some of these things, because they might be really good at one sport, but they're not very good at another.
Right.
So creating an atmosphere where they're comfortable to, kind of step out of their comfort zone a little bit is extremely important. I think that's the biggest challenge. And trying to get some students out of that bubble is really hard.
Yeah.
Right. And
Without
trying
a
to
doubt.
create an atmosphere. And I think, Mr. Kelty, right?
Of
Kevin
course.
Kelty, right? So he does a good job. And there's, we kind of intertwine our students a little bit at times, because if you can pair up a student with somebody who they're more socially accepted with, right, and they're feeling better about being comfortable with that person, you can kind of draw a little more out of them. And I think that is a huge aspect of things, just trying to get them to be comfortable, creating a safe space where you're not going to be ridiculed if you make a mistake.
No question.
You
No
know?
question. I think that's the biggest thing that it's a challenge as a wellness teacher, as you well know, and any teacher to do that type of thing. So share with me an example of a success story that you've had where a student benefited from your wellness program.
Oh boy. I think most recently, I guess without using any names, there's a student who's currently at BHS who she actually, and if she sees this, she'll know exactly who I'm talking about. She wrote her college essay about me.
Oh, how great is that?
Yeah.
Wait a minute now. I'm liking this already. I like this story. All right, go ahead.
So she's dealt with some adversity in her life. And, even during her high school years and even before that. And, even in her, college essay, she talks about how she wasn't comfortable in a PE setting, never liked going to PE, never.
Wow.
But she actually enjoys coming to the field house in my class, and I hope, obviously in this particular case, cultivated, this level of comfort, that she was able to talk to me about the things she had going on, and really opened up. And, she has gone on to, start a club at the school, a very successful club. Actually, I shouldn't say start. She took over a club that had been started for, a year or two. And she took over this club, and she does a ton for, for making improving school culture.
Right.
It's awesome. She's really come out of her shell. It's awesome.
So, having related that story, you left a footprint on her on how you taught wellness, and you drew that out of her. How great is that? I mean, that's what we try to strive to do as educators, right? We try to bring the best out in our students. Man, I love hearing that stuff. It makes me really happy to be part of this community that we're in right now. Tell me, how do you collaborate with other teachers, maybe counselors or administrators, to promote sort of student wellness in and around our community and also at BHS?
That's a tough one. Honestly, I think I like to think I'm one of the easier guys to work with.
Yeah. For sure.
I'm very open to ideas. I believe in collaboration. And if a student needs some time to, work with a guidance counselor or, another section of the building, right? We make sure we accommodate those things. I think it's the military man in me, right? There's team, right? And we have to work as a team, right? And when you even have one person like pulling in the other direction, it makes things so much more difficult.
It does.
And sometimes you have to, right?
No question.
Sometimes you have to pull in the other direction. But you need to collaborate. You need to work with people, and I think that's how you achieve the ultimate goal of trying to create a positive culture.
Well, it's funny you said that because I'm all about positive culture. I'm the guy that sees the cup half full as opposed to half empty.
Gotta see it that way.
Well, no question. But it's funny, like some people like, oh, you're so happy. I want to take what you had. I said, I have a happy pill right here in my heart because I feel like if I can spread that and throw out that goodness on a daily basis, generally it comes back to me in some way, shape, or form, right? And that's the best part about doing what we do as educators.
And here's the thing, too. And to your point, into trying to create positive culture and all these things, we can't control what happens to us, right? We can only control how we respond
No question.
to these things. And I've had things thrown at me in my life that, if I had curled up into a ball and felt sorry for myself and, didn't move forward, people probably wouldn't have blamed me.
Right.
But if you can turn those things into a positive, right, then you can hopefully leave footprints on people.
No question. And that's what we're trying to do as educators, is to leave those footprints on people. Any pet peeves you got?
Pet peeves.
Because this is a good question. From I always think about like what really drives me crazy. You know what I mean? I've been married 34 years, so I mean I love my wife, but sometimes she might do a couple of things that drive me a little nutty. You know what I mean?
To me, the biggest thing is just respect.
Yeah.
Right. You need to have a respect for people. If you don't respect, Like, and it goes both ways, right? I need to earn the respect of my students. I need to respect each and every one of my students, right? I need to earn the respect of, my coworkers.
Yeah,
And I need
for sure.
to, show respect to them.
Absolutely.
And I think honesty goes a long way in that. I just think when you're being overall respectful person, and I know that's kind of very broad.
No.
There's many different ways to show respect towards people. And to me, when you're not doing that, like, to me, that's one of the easiest things to do.
Yeah.
Right, is to be a respectful person, because we're not going to see eye to eye.
No.
On everything, and that's fine.
No, exactly.
Right, and that's what I'll go back to this Tecumseh poem I talked about.
Yeah,
right,
sure.
and it's another one of the lines in the same poem is respect others in their views and demand that they respect yours.
No question. So, I mean, I'm a coach too. I coach basketball, as you well know, at Pingree School. Shameless plug. And the beauty of being there is I always tell the kids, you can't expect to see change if you never do anything differently, right? So one of the biggest things we try to strive for is getting the best out of that particular kid. Now, we're going to find that kids, their level is different, as far as skill goes. But if you can inspire them to just go one step further, take one more rep, right? One more shot, one more run up the court, right? And you see that actually happen in a game, oh my God. It's the best thing ever.
So rewarding.
Right? It's the best thing ever.
Rewarding.
You're like, I did that, right? That's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And it's really awesome to see.
Yep.
Right?
It is. It's incredible.
It is. It's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
So now let me ask you this. How do you practice wellness in your own life?
Oh, boy. See, and I'll say, so this is probably a weakness of my own. Right? Because we just talked about this before we started. I can't say no to anybody.
You can't say no.
Right? So how do I practice wellness? It's a great question.
Yes.
I wake up at 4:30 every morning.
Yep.
Or at least Monday through Friday anyways. I like to sleep in on the weekends if I can. I'm at the gym at 5 o'clock. I work out until 6:30, and then I'm here. I think maybe just the social interaction of my life and trying to be involved in people, other people's lives, and trying to be a positive role model in that way is it's fulfilling to me. So maybe that's how I kind of, bring that wellness together, because it's more than just, being physically well, right? And working out and all those things. There's many aspects to wellness. But yeah, I mean, it's hard because I stress myself very thin in a lot of the things I do. I mean, I got a summer job. I got my teaching job. I coach football in the fall. I doing the basketball scoreboard tonight. I coach my son's basketball team at the Y. I coach the girls' varsity tennis team here in Beverly. They've been doing very well. Looking forward to that.
Yes.
And then I got a summer job on top of that. Like I said,
So,
it's always go, 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 go. Plus, I'm running summer workouts for the football team all summer long.
How great is that?
5:30 in the morning, Good Harbor Beach. We're up there and getting after it. Yeah. So I'm just always going. So maybe I should find a way to slow down.
I love it. No. Please don't. Because those footprints you're leaving on those kids that you're impacting are lasting for a lifetime.
I hope so.
Now. No, Craig, they are. Trust me. I had a footprint imprinted on me when I was in high school. So my high school coach passed away just recently. But I used to go to his house and have dinner.
Yep.
And he was more interested not in what I did on the court, but what was I doing off the court, right? Yes. And that's one of the biggest things. Like, I think sports galvanizes teams and people, and it brings them together in such a way where it's like the relationships are synergistic and it lasts a long time, right? And so I love that fact that you're doing all of that. Please don't stop.
I mean, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I had Coach Rocky Thompson and Coach David Green.
Yeah.
Those are my high school coaches. I'll never forget those guys.
Yeah.
They left a big footprint on me.
That's what I mean.
And they're one of the main reasons why I really wanted to get into coaching.
Exactly.
Right? So I could teach that. The game of football, as far as I'm concerned, changed my life. I was a very shy, insecure kid. Didn't have any confidence at all.
Right.
And going into my freshman year, I decided to go out for the freshman football team.
There it is.
And those guys, I mean, it wasn't that year, right? I was a freshman, but they were the varsity and JV coaches throughout the year and those, the years. And those guys changed my life. Like, they made me into a better person.
See, and that's the beauty of footprints, right? Because we meet people on every day of our walk of life. We're walking and doing our thing. We're at the market. We're here. We're there, right? And we meet people every day, and they leave footprints on us, good, bad, or indifferent. And now, how do we take those and carry those forward? That's the beauty of of footprints, right? And now you're leaving those lasting footprints on your students as an educator, and I'm doing the same thing, and it's a beautiful thing, believe me. It is. What advice would you give to students or colleagues about maintaining balance in their health?
Ooh, learn to say no like I can't.
Kind of like me too.
Yeah,
I know that.
No, here's the thing, and I'll go back to the student I was talking about. It can be very rewarding to put yourself out there, right? It's also very vulnerable.
Oh, no question.
And you open yourself up to a lot of criticism, right? I mean, there could be somebody watching or listening to what I have to say and being like, God, what a jerk. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe some people don't see me as being sincere, and that's fine, right? They won't always, right? When you put yourself out there, right, you put yourself out there for scrutiny. But if you don't put yourself out there, you don't see any of the positive results either.
Exactly.
Right? Like, so, I mean, with the club that this student runs, recently she caught a little bit of criticism, I guess, like silly criticism, nothing serious. Right? But I was like, that's part of it. Like, you're putting yourself out there into the world. There are going to be some people that maybe try to spin things negatively.
Of course. They're always
Only
gonna have
you
those.
know your true intentions.
That's right.
But, like, don't stop putting yourself out there.
Right. Because you're going to have naysayers and haters, as they say.
No matter what.
It's going to happen.
No matter what.
Right?
Like, there's people out there's somebody that doesn't like me.
Of course.
And that's okay. Like,
That's all right by them. Me too.
I'm not your cup of tea. That's okay.
That's cool, yeah.
Right? You're probably not mine either.
Exactly. So that's how it works. It goes both ways. The yin and the yang, baby.
Absolutely.
Give and take. Excuse me. What do you enjoy most about your role as a wellness teacher at BHS?
The students.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a canned answer. It sounds, but like, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have fun with the guys that I work with, and all my colleagues. But the students, man, and like just the stuff, like it's some of the things that get said and get done, like it's hilarious. I mean, there's like you overhear conversations that you can't repeat. Like, I'm like, God, you guys are cracking me up,
right?
And they're also the toughest part about the job too. But that is the most rewarding part of it.
No
it's
question.
Just them. Like that's the answer.
So you're right, and the thing is, like people say, well, why do you do what you do? Well, I had an assignment today where, excuse me, I teach a preserving democracy class.
Yep.
And I wrote my name in the middle, and I had all these different words around my name and what they mean to me and how those words impacted my life.
Yeah.
One of them being empathy, one of them being helpful, right? One of them being like a family man, a brother, a father, a granddad, all those things rolled into one.
Yeah.
Teacher, a coach, which is synonymous with teaching, right? Just things that really impact me. And I asked some of the kids some of theirs, like, give me, what are you thinking about? What is really your makeup? What makes you go? And one girl said, meaning. And I said, meaning? That's a pretty good one. Tell me about that. She said, well, I want my life to have meaning. I want to be able to do something meaningful, like maybe create some art. I'm into that type of thing. And I was thinking, I just got that out of you. I knew it was in there, and I'm glad that you said that and you shared that with the class, because now it's out there, and now you have to act on it. You got to do something about it, right? You can't just let it fester and hang inside.
Those moments are probably one of the best things about teaching. Right?
Yeah.
When a student when a student finally opens up and says something, because I'll be honest, there was a student a couple years ago that I felt like I couldn't get more than 2 words out of her. Even in a PE class.
Right.
And I was convinced that this student just didn't like me. I just was not her cup of tea.
Right.
But she came back later to have a conversation with me and opened up to me about some things that was going on. And I was like, oh, okay.
You didn't expect that, did you?
First of all, this explains so much. And honestly, to me, it's one of those things, and I love that you use the word empathy.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's something that the world could use a little more of. And I'm glad, because in the back of my head I was like, God, this student just does not like me. Like, she doesn't like me. I'm trying, man. But she does not like me.
Right.
And like one day she asked to talk to me, and
wow.
the reason why was because she had heard me, and I had opened up about my youngest son. And she immediately, I could tell she got emotional.
Right.
she kind of pulled me aside afterwards to kind
Said,
of
hey,
ask me
let's
about
talk.
that. Said,
Yeah.
hey, listen, can we
How
talk
great
about
was
this?
that, though, right?
And I was like, sure, like, let's talk. And she opened up about some things, and I was like, now I know why you were so closed off. You're going through it.
Right.
You know, and I could have been that guy who was like, if I didn't have any empathy,
Right.
I could have been like, oh, whatever, man, she just doesn't. Why am I going to give any effort here?
No doubt.
You know, I'm moving on.
Right.
Right. But no, you're empathetic. You got to care.
Yeah,
and
man.
all of a sudden, just like that, like
A light switch comes on. It's great.
Flip the switch, and we were good to go. We were like besties from that point moving forward.
So, I mean, that's what we strive for, basically. We're striving for that, right? And that's why we do what we do, because it's important work. And people think, he's just a teacher. Man, I'm so much more than that, right?
Listen,
it's so much more.
The things we teach pale in comparison to the connections you make. Like, seriously, let's be honest. Teaching is important.
Right.
Right? The subjects that we teach,
Yeah.
they all have a place.
Yeah.
They do. Right? They really do. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, we need to be, teaching our youth. Every subject that we teach is important for one reason or another, and in some way, or shape, or form. But all of that pales in comparison to the life lessons and the connections you make with the students, right? That's that's what's going to make a better citizen, right?
That's what we
that's
want.
what we're working on. We're working on trying to make
that.
better citizens of our community.
Without a doubt, we want that for sure.
And algebra's not going to make that better.
No,
but they need to know it.
But they do
need to
know it.
But
for
you
sure.
make that connection with a student,
No doubt.
right? Me teaching them how to shoot a basketball is not going to make them a better citizen.
No. But going through the adversity of learning how to do it, that is going to teach you to overcome some obstacles in your life later on.
Bingo.
And that's what we want, right?
Bingo. Absolutely.
So now you said you were in the service. You must have did some traveling.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Well, yes and no.
Yes and no?
Yeah.
So tell me this. If money were no object, where would you take your lovely wife on vacation if money were no object, if you could just go anywhere?
No object.
No object at all.
I'm going to tell you what, because she is very supportive of all the, extracurriculars that I have going on, all the coaching that I do. And she gets frustrated, and it's
Of
okay.
course.
I know that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We have our arguments about it, but she supports me. I would throw it out to her. I'd be like, where you want to go? And I guarantee you it would be somewhere tropical. I'd be like, where you want to go? Okay, tropical it is. Let's go.
Yeah.
Come on.
For sure.
Yeah.
My wife probably as well. She's funny. Like, we have family all over the place, but her brother just came from New Orleans and visited us over the holiday, and that was fun too. I hadn't seen him in a while. But yeah, my wife would be the same way. Let's go to a tropical island and get some drinks with some umbrellas in them or
We're
something.
very lucky too, and in a way, I'm very lucky too, because I love the ocean, right? I love being out to sea.
Yeah.
Love it. And I went on a cruise when I was younger.
Yeah.
I loved everything about it.
No
I mentioned
question.
it to my wife one point. She's like, "Sure, let's do it." Fast forward years later, one of her little side hustles is, doing travel. She's a travel agent
How
for
great
cruises.
is that?
So she loves going on these cruises. So honestly, her probably go-to would be a cruise.
Would be a cruise,
and
yeah.
I'd be like, perfect. So I get to go out to sea, and you get tropical. We're good.
We're
Let's
good,
go.
right? You love it when you both get what you want, right?
Best of both
How great
worlds.
is that? Another question. If you could have dinner with anybody, dead or alive, in history, who would it be and why?
I'm going to actually circle it right back around to the beginning. I would love to sit down and have a conversation with Tecumseh. Because I would like to, I would love to pick his brain and have a conversation about that poem that he wrote and all of the things that he stood for, and how he dealt with the adversity that was his life.
Yeah, no question.
Because if you ever get the time, look it up. The poem from Tecumseh. He's a Shawnee chief.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a footprint? That guy, that whole poem is talking about a footprint.
Oh, that's what I love.
Yeah.
I'll do that when I get out there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think our time is up. It's been a wonderful, wonderful afternoon speaking with the one, the only, the legend, the man, the myth, Mr. Craig Bren. I appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you very much.
And this was wonderful. We're going to have to do this again at some point. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to watch us on Channel 22, where this will be posted. And also it'll be posted on SoundCloud. And I'm going to leave you with this question. Who left a footprint on you? See you next time.